Hey, it's Candy. Welcome to the shed. Okay, Joseph. Let's talk Joseph in Genesis. You know, the last part of Genesis. In fact, it is a majority of the story found in Genesis that covers the story of Joseph. And Joseph is a type and shadow pointing us to Jesus. And Joseph's story has always been an intriguing story. It's always been a very good reflection to go to see what it is like to suffer, to be humbled, to have a dream, to be the one who is called upon by God to do a thing in the earth that you yourself don't even quite understand, but yet how God is orchestrating and pulling the strings and calling the shots from the throne room. And I'm telling you, the story of Joseph is amazing. So if you read Genesis and you get through creation and you get through Noah and the destruction and you get through the rebuilding and or reconstructing or the family of Noah that God uses to start over with humanity, and you go through Abraham, who has a son named Isaac, who has a son named Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is the three that we say the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And then Jacob wrestles with God and his name is changed to Israel, which points out to the fact that when you're reading, you have to be kind of careful sometimes when you read Israel. Is God speaking of the man Israel, or is he speaking of the nation and the people of Israel? And a lot of times it's both because there's many layers, many facets, many things that goes on in the structure of the word. And so the God who was, is, and forever will be, he is not going to change. His word is not negotiable. It is forever settled in heaven, and it is truth. It is light, and it invigorates you, and his spirit is upon it, and it's alive and active. And it was for them today, had its original true meaning, but it also speaks to us today because he's eternal and his word is eternal. So it fits us today just like it fit them way back then. So Joseph, we got Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, who is also Israel, has a son named Joseph. And Joseph's brothers are very jealous of Joseph. Joseph has a dream, and he goes before his family and he tells them of this dream, and his revealing the dream caused a lot of the jealousy and the confusion. And so the story moves on. I might put some of these verses in the description. Not going to read them because it is too vast. He takes up a lot of Genesis. So really dig in there and go through the story of Joseph. It is so good, so amazing, so rich. So Joseph gets put in a pit by his brothers, and they fake his death. And we're talking about Joseph, the one that had the coat of many colors. We're not talking about Mary's husband Joseph in the New Testament. Okay, Genesis, that should give that away, but felt the need to say that because new Bible students or Christians may not understand that, may not know that. And so whenever I was new to opening my Bible and reading it, I was confused by a lot of these things because I didn't know. I was new. Okay, so anyways, he gets put in a pit. Poor little Joseph. He gets his coat wallered in some animal's blood, and they fake his death and take and sell him to some Midianites that take him down to Egypt. So we all know the little sayings that we've heard through the years, that Joseph went through the pit, he went through Potiphar's house, he went through the prison, and he wound up in the palace. Amazing story. You will love the story of Joseph. If you've never read it, read it. If you have read it again. So good, so rich, so good. And so the story is that God uses Joseph. All through his story, you will find where the Bible tells you that the Lord was with him. And you will see that through each and every stage that Joseph goes through, the Lord prospered Joseph. The Lord was using that persecution, that hatred, that jealousy, that the mess that he was going through in his life. The Lord was using all of that and orchestrating and getting his final plan and purpose for Joseph in place and getting it done. So Joseph winds up being sold to the Midianites, that sells him to Potiphar. And then Potiphar's wife, she tells lies on Joseph. And then from there, he is cast into prison. And this dreamer, Joseph, is interpreting other people's dreams in prison, and come to find out what he interprets comes to pass. So his reputation, the Lord being with him, he's being advanced. Even in the prison, he was advanced. And from the prison, he gets pulled out because the Lord was with him. Not because he was so good and so holy and so righteous and so pure and so perfect and so, but because the Lord had a purpose and a plan. Sometimes what you and me go through in life is not really about us. So Joseph gets pulled out of prison and took before Pharaoh. And Pharaoh had had a dream, and he needed to know what this thing meant. And so the dreamer, who becomes the one who interprets dreams, comes before the big man himself, and his gift, his talent, his calling, whatever you want to say that this is, the thing that God has inside of him, his purpose is being used through all of this. Through everything that he went through, his purpose in the earth is being used. It's evolving. It's a process, and it's taking shape, and God is going to have his end result. And so he interprets, Joseph interprets Pharaoh's dream. He finds favor with Pharaoh, and he gets promoted. There is no one in the kingdom of Egypt during this story in the Bible that is greater than Joseph, except for this Pharaoh in this section of the story. And so the story goes on. You can read the story to find out there's a big famine coming. You can find out all the instructions and the things that God put in place through through Joseph to save a lot of people. And then before the story is over, you will find that God brings restoration between Joseph and his family. And yes, read the story. And you will find out that the original dream that caused all the mess, all the hurt, all the heartache, all the jealousy, all the persecution, all the hatred, all the shame that come from that original dream, that dream comes to pass just as God had gave Joseph. And it was for a purpose, a different purpose than what they originally thought that it meant. It was for a good thing that God was doing in the earth. And so if you want to go through a story that will be very encouraging and enlightening and good research that you can do. If you want to like dive deep, look at all the parallelism between Joseph and Jesus, and pay attention to the two that was in prison, how one was lifted up and one was not. And look to the cross, how there were two there with Jesus. And like, so much. You cannot put all of that in one little short video. You will have to get in there and dig it out for yourself. It's so good. So I thought I would share that little bit of Joseph's story in the end of Genesis for you today. And from there, you see that God keeps his covenant and his promise that he made to Abraham through Joseph and his family, the few that went into Egypt 400 and something years later when they come out. So after you read Genesis, the story picks up and goes straight into Exodus, and we see that Moses comes on the scene, and oh my goodness, a whole new section of the story for the birthing of the nation of Israel, which is one of the reasons why I said at the earlier part of this video that God, when Jacob wrestled all night long and his name was changed to Israel, the things that you read in there not only will just point to the man Jacob who was called Israel, but also points to the things that occur with the people and the nation of Israel, and how that even they wrestle with God. And y'all, the things that you can dig out of the Bible, and you have to put the study time in. You have to do more than just read it. You have to go to commentaries and dictionaries and pray and ask God to reveal and show you, because his word is truth. It is light. It is alive. It is spirit. It is eternal, and it has so much depth and height and width and breadth to it, and so much life to be had in the rich word of God. So that is what I wanted to share with you today. And so I know that people usually tend to start in Genesis earlier in the year whenever they're starting their Bible reading through the year plan or whatever that they go through. But for some of you out there, you may have not done that. And it doesn't matter that it's not January. It doesn't matter that you think you're behind. There is always a right time to do the right thing. And the right thing is to get in the Word of God and to seek out and to search out and to look for him in these scriptures and to see his good news. And the good news is that salvation was promised, and that God, down through the ages, is still keeping his word and his promises and his covenants. He is eternal. He changes not. He never fails. And just like he was with Joseph during all the hardships and all the things that he went through and suffered through, he is with you and me today. And we all go through things, and we are all important to God, because he sent his son to die on a cross for everybody, whosoever will. And he's calling today to come. He says today to seek his face. He says today that his grace is sufficient. He says today, I'm for you, not against you. He says today that he loves you with an everlasting love. He says that his love is perfect and it casts out fear. He says he's not giving you the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. He says today that he has given us his word, and it is pure, and it can be understood, and it can be, we can attain the things that we reach for and drive after and go for in and through in him we live and move and have our being. And so until next time.